You keep blaming yourself for what you couldn't change. Keep rehearsing the past, reliving the pain. But healing don't come from holding on tight. Sometimes strength is knowing when.
Welcome to yet another episode of Surely. This is me, as per always, Nomfundo Nyakane, and I'm with
Louisa Levitsa Malashakane. Welcome.
What's that song?
Welcome back.
Thank you for welcoming us into your homes, your phones, and everything.
And your offices.
Oh, and your offices, yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
So now, just a quick recap.
Yes.
Dear Gav.
Dear Gav, the girl she thinks she is. Or shall I say the guy? Dear Gav, yes.
Dear Gav is finally out.
Dear Gav is out.
Yes. So Dear Gav is on Amazon.com, not Amazon.co.za, because I see people keep saying we're looking for it on Amazon.co.za.
We've been inundated with calls that people can't get hold of it. Yeah.
It's actually on Amazon.com. And just a quick recap as well about last week's conversation.
Yes.
Right? I was speaking to my the baby sister here, Ayana. We had a 2-day debate about the topics that we spoke about in terms of illegal foreigners.
Yes.
So she made valid points. I must put it to her. She made valid points in terms of Africa uniting, the open border system. She explained to me what it meant to her with regards to our open borders, which made a lot of sense, which is not saying there are no regulations in between one country to the other, because my debate was, if we open these borders up, it's like we're opening out, a can of worms, because if we can't manage our own internal affairs over mind, now opening ourselves up to other countries is a bit, But it was interesting to hear from her point of view. What do you think about this open border thing?
The open border, it basically, we are setting ourselves for failure. And it will, like you were saying last week, that if a South African were to commit a crime, there is a system that can trace them and track them. But with undocumented, I think we should also emphasize the document part of it.
Undocumented,
undocumented. Then it leaves all kinds of loopholes, or it becomes anybody's world, anybody's, like, I can't even put it in words. So like we script our podcast, hence you just speak what you think would make sense to you. It doesn't necessarily have to make sense to other people, but I feel like open border it's a no-no.
But you see, she made valid points as well. She feels we are only focusing on Africans and not looking at Westerners or Chinese or everybody else. So which Nakona I did say to her, basically I said to her, you don't find them in our clinics or in our schools overcrowding. So we can only talk about what we see. But then she basically said, I know the part where that I'm exposed to, which I felt is true. I'm exposed to a certain part. Yes. So she's exposed to another part. So our views will obviously differ. We also spoke about, in terms of drugs, I was saying drugs are mostly by illegal foreigners, and she did mention the part which there are South Africans that sell drugs. We seem to forget about that. So it's another thing as well. It's just that with me, like I was explaining to her, I can only deal with the person that I see now, as opposed to trying to fight the bigger guy, Engamazi, because I don't have the resources to fight someone that's up there, someone that I don't know. But the guy that I see, it's just one of those things.
And then there was March on March that happened last week. What's your take on the outcome? Most people say it was a failure. They say it did not achieve it did not reach the thing that it was intended for.
Well, I think it did, because it's just that I haven't really been focusing on the news. I did see the government is open now to talk. I've seen people from government talking.
Our government is like that. You just need to go and
Yes, they are not proactive. They are very reactive.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
yes, they're very reactive. So then I did see them speaking more or less in terms of ama borders, Lawe to Anjanjani, and I did see there's a white paper. That's in play as well. So it's just I haven't really been focusing on that because we've just been all over the show these days.
Yes.
So it was just one of those things. But other than that, for me, it was a success. We were heard. It was unfortunate with regards to the violence that that happened after.
Yeah.
You know, we all don't know.
There'll always be those opportunistic underlying conspiracy in Tonton. You know, you could find that what happened and stuff, it was planned from the get-go.
I also feel that it was orchestrated.
Yeah, it was orchestrated.
So
but
yes, you know, speedy recovery to all the people that were hurt on that day,
and those cars, businesses looted.
I don't know about the cars and the businesses. I'm not condoning.
Yeah,
violence.
No, we could never condone violence.
We could never condone violence.
Yeah, it's just that there were collateral damage.
Yeah, there were collateral damage, unfortunately. But I'm happy with the message did come across. Government is listening. Yes, you know, so government is listening and they are coming to the party.
Yes, and listen, Dear Gov is not only about undocumented foreign nationals. What else are we going to find ourselves immersed in as far as Dear Gov is concerned after we have purchased, of course?
Okay, there are two topics that I think we should talk about today. They're also very important topics.
Yes.
Let's talk about the Tenderpreneurs and the SGBs. How's that?
Yeah, sure.
Because they featured also in the
book. Yes.
So with me, in terms of Tenderpreneurs, it's something I'm very passionate about. I do feel things like tenders must be struck off completely.
So I'm concerned about that. The structure esibekelwe ama-tenders or tenderpreneurs.
How did we survive without tenders before? That's the question. Remember, before government would hire directly in terms of companies that did were service providers and stuff. With tenders, it's like the middleman that's unnecessary.
But we still, I think the reason we ended up having them is because they have identified a problem, hence they brought them in. So have we proven beyond reasonable doubt that they don't work?
Yeah, but the thing is,
striking it off is a bit hairy, eh?
Yeah, but people are dying because of these tenders.
People are dying everywhere. People are dying in car accident. People are dying.
But it's corruption.
Corruption is all over, Ntombo. It's like literally corruption is everywhere.
Are you telling me that you're condoning corruption?
I'm not condoning corruption, but I'm just saying getting rid of something because it has corruption. I'm not saying cheating is okay. I keep putting my foot in my mouth like I can taste the rubber already. However, I think we can try to fix or find ways to work with it.
But you know, my argument would always be Uguti. Lama tenders law. People are putting friends and family. It's only a few that benefit.
I beg to differ.
Okay.
Yes, I beg to differ. Because the thing, yes, ha re tholeng tsela ya go dila le tsona. Ha re tholeng tsela ya gore re etse gore di re sebeletse. As we have already identified the fraud part in it and the nepotism and the likes, I think there's that thing, man, people do before where it's get and is it voting or is what?
Yes, the vetting.
Yes, the vetting part. But
if you've got a connection there in the municipality, you've got a
there
connection.
Will always be a connection everywhere. There will always be a connection. It's almost like I'm saying, who useless, who lukisa dintho, but Mina, I'm saying let's not eradicate it altogether. Let's find ways to minimize corruption, nepotism, and
We
so
don't
on.
have textbooks already because there's a tender out there for someone to supply textbooks to schools.
Are you aware?
Someone is eating
Yeah.
the money.
Are you aware that there are private tenders and then there are government tenders? Umhlaba wethu is now revolving around amatenda. When we say just eradicate amatenda, we are going back to the ice age or the stone age or whatever age it is. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think we can work around it, make it more strict, make it more inaccessible, unless you have the right documentations. Yeah.
But the criteria is always there. The criteria is definitely always there. But now people like Joanne Shuguti, there's so much corruption in it. And I won't namanje, if you look at this this lady that died in the Tembisa hospital.
Yes.
It's because of a tender. Look at that gentleman that died by mistake because they got the wrong guy, the engineer.
Yes.
It was because of a tender. Look at, but there's a lot, man. Breaking there was about textbooks and stuff. Look at medication in hospitals that's always short. It's a tender gone wrong. So this, for me, show me a case where a tender has gone right, and I might just be.
I think because we are so used to bad news, cases like that never sees the light of day because there is nothing to scrutinize. There is nothing bad about it. They are there. I believe and somehow I think I can put my head on the block and say they do exist. They are in fact maybe in the majority instead of minority.
But what's wrong with the government getting the services that they require directly? Why do we need the middlemen?
I think the middleman's work is to make sure that they find the right person for the job. Imagine if tender
but you just some government official in some government office can't review these service providers and select
when
the
you
right
talk
one.
about government officials, it doesn't matter whether kiki department thing, because first and foremost they are so entitled, like they feel black ya bona there's another word I can use, but there'll be ill feelings. However, abantu abasebenzela government ngathi basebenze emakubo, like they believe they are in charge, they are in control, but hey, before imagine if there is tender saying like you were saying, and then department interview.
Not really, but I think they should do what they normally did. They have suppliers on their database, and then whenever at the vetting process, whenever there's a service provider that's required, then they can go directly to source. I mean, the time the books, textbooks were gotten from Ejuta, for example, we could go back. So now instead of which is 20 textbook 90 rand Ejuta, now we have to go through a tender person who's going to up-price textbook 90 rand, which is normally 3 or 4 times the price. That is why with me, I'm very anti tenders. I understand with you as a business person as well, you would want to grow because you own a construction company, right?
Yes.
So you would want to grow in terms of getting those jobs because now you can upload a database. I understand there are challenges and tenders might be a transparent system, but they're not.
My response is not even based on me being a construction person. It's just there's a lot of things that goes with tenders. Like there's tender for medicine, tender for books, tender for cutting grass, tender for mamela. Yonke into esiyenzayo khona manje sele tender based. I feel like re tla be re nka 10 steps backwards after taking 95 steps forward. So I feel like it will be somewhat shooting ourselves on the foot. I think it should stay and cleaned up a bit. And believe you me, those people who will be hired to clean it up, it will be a tender. A tender to fix a tender.
Yeah, like the Golden Highway scenario.
Yeah. They will hire people to fix the tender system.
But if they remove, for me, if they remove the tender system in terms of employment, I think then there's more chances they can create jobs. You know, if people, I mean, government jobs, everything is being outsourced. Literally everything
And
is being outsourced.
it was the thing.
Yes.
House teacher or bonesa,
Yes.
or
Yes.
or nurse.
Yes,
Yeah.
administrator, something,
Yeah.
everything. You know, I saw, I think, I'm not sure who he was addressing, our president, when he spoke about a certain municipality, with everything in that municipality was outsourced. Literally everything. Which I felt it was ridiculous. I mean, it's a municipality. It's Abasana cleaner that's within.
But you tender clean.
Yes, it's tender cleaner, tender gardeners.
Yeah.
Tender, abantu abacheke ama water meters.
Yeah.
Tender for everything.
So, to regulate all those things without tender, to get them.
But how were they done before? Before the
reason
system?
when the pillow valid tender, it's because along the way there were some little men who were left along the wayside. Ama-CV, unokubona nawo ama-CV abanye abantwana anotholakala at the side of the road alahlilwe mola asachekuwa lo chekuwa, you know. So nakina now it's a lot of work. It's too much work. Let's keep it, but let's clean it. How to toilet and the tenderpreneurs and the tender process. That's my story and I'm sticking to it.
If it was so simple, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that.
Yes.
But in Dear Gov, I did mention a couple of schools where Igolo, I think there's one like a Flatfontein. Kids are still learning in containers. You know,
2026.
Yes. I hear they've resumed building that school again, but for the fact that there were children learning in containers, for me it was something else.
There must have been a tender that went wrong.
I was definitely a tender. That was definitely a tender that went wrong.
Yeah.
You know, there was another one. It's like you in a complete school in Midrand,
Yes.
where it couldn't be occupied because of wrong. So those are the things which I mentioned in the book. You know, the Tenderpreneurs prayer. Or they pray for these tenders, they get these tenders,
Yes.
they overprice everything and they don't deliver. So instead they go buy.
It's either they under deliver or they just don't deliver it all.
Yes.
Hence, the bridge.
Yes.
I could say the bridge is setting yan, man, say you about 5 million and stuff like that.
Yes.
Tender still
Yes.
went wrong there.
Yes, tender still went. You know, I'm not sure if it was Trevor Noah or somebody that said, if they give you money to build 10 bridges,
Yes.
build 9 bridges. Okay?
Yeah.
And then the one year you can.
We're still not condoning, but we are saying just deliver.
Deliver. You know, so I think with me, okay, we both agree to disagree.
Yes.
You for tenders, I'm not for tenders.
Yes. Okay.
We'll agree to disagree.
Let's agree to disagree.
Yes. So now, we had an issue with regards to SGB,
Yes.
right? It was something that was very close
very
to home.
thorny subject.
Yes, it was something very close to home
Yes.
with you, where it involved your son.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now, because except for your particular involvement and your experience, I've had kids, SGB, I would hear, votwa,
Yes.
and someone nominated, but I never really cared. What is the role of SGBs in schools?
SGBs in full as school governing body, you know, and it parents, you can't be an SGB if you don't have a learner in that school. So either during an AGM, no, it's not AGM, there's a meeting that ama SGB akhetha kuyo, ne? And then we nominate each other as parents. Ukuthi this one can be siyamkhetha, and then makevuma uzosho ukuthi uyavuma. And then within the SGB re tlo kgetha ditulo tse tharo ke chairperson, or in some schools it's 5: chairperson, deputy chairperson, and then treasurer, and then the other one is secretary.
Okay.
So like I mentioned, you must have a learner in that school. You must have a learner who's active. However, in my predicament, I don't know if I should talk about that now or it will be a topic for another day.
I think it's a topic for another
they
day.
are somehow, linked. They are intertwined. Being an SGB member, it's not a child's play, because it's one of those tenders. It's a school, man. Tender being the famous word for today. It's one of those, because they are also involved in nominating abantu abazosebenza or selecting abantu abazothola amatenda ey'kolweni, so that's where it becomes hairy, because everybody knows somebody who does something.
While I was doing my research on SGBs, I discovered, which there are some which is very weird, parents, because it's parents.
Yes.
SGB members that will sell jobs within the school, whether it's teaching posts, cleaning posts, security posts.
I have heard of such.
So isn't it sad? It's something that involves a parent or parents, which is rigged with corruption.
I like how you put it in your book, they are the gatekeepers.
They are the gatekeepers.
As much as they would like to stand back and point fingers, they akekho umuntu ongacorrupteki. I think it's a reckless statement, but I will stand by it.
So we all have a price.
Yes.
What you say.
Wonke umuntu, not necessarily called the SGB, but wonke umuntu. If the price is right, it could be a white collar crime, or it could be something enganyana nje, but big things start small.
But with people like Ama SGB, like I in the book I kept referring to them as parents, because I wanted to bring the picture with this as a parent.
Yes.
Do you understand? In terms of those cases, what would make a parent be corrupt in such a way you are risking your child not having a chair, your child not having a desk, or your child not having a textbook?
Because it's not my child alone. I think that's the reasoning behind it. It's not my child alone. It's not like that seat engazokhona ukuba khona eklasini, it was specifically for my child. So they tend to recuse themselves, and also forget why they are there. I like the fact that you mentioned hore ngwana ha tlo khona ba le stulo because of the decision ekileng, but basically khothatsa ka hore that stulo is not for my child, it's for omunye umntwana nje. So ba end up ba feel hore it's not affecting me, it's not my personal problem, so therefore it's not affecting me personally or my child. But at the end of the day, it affects your child.
But why then?
And our children.
Why do SGBs have so much power? Do they have so much power over the principal, over the administrative system of the school? Are they given that much power, or whether they can make the final decision?
In most schools they are. Kukhona lesikole engisaziyo where the chairperson has so much power. You could swear that we principal himself. He's got so much power. Ama decisions like they are so, I don't know, man. This school is quite interesting, because ama parents, they know of this situation, but they tend to turn a blind eye and say ama SGB wonke. They don't know who SGB is. Not just one person. SGB, like in some schools you can find it's 9 parents. In some schools it's like 6 parents. I think it differa ka dikolo, but hona le batho be leng hore once ba le mo ditulong ba le bala hore ba beiwe ke bo mang jwang. Motho o vele a file fela hore ke how mention a lebitso SGB re bua ka a particular person, not the whole component.
Ganti, in terms of the SGB, because you're a current SGB member,
yes,
right? And you've been for a while. So now, when you guys make a decision, let's say that you make a decision which you guys are going to buy, let's say these flasks, for example, right?
Yes.
And then
we first need to identify if we do need to buy the flask.
And then who decides? Is it the entire SGB team, or is it the chairperson and the secretary? Who has the right to make the final decisions? Or does one person make the decision and then the rest of you come and sign? What's the process behind? Because I'm trying to see, is it a room? I'm trying to picture this. Is this a room full of parents that are deciding, we are going to be corrupt, we are going to steal money from the school?
No. How it is initially supposed to be, we are supposed to work together as SGB.
All of you?
All of us, including, there's also SGB rep.
Oh, yes.
They will come from teachers.
Oh, yes.
And then there's SGB, whatever, then they would come from the admin office or something like that. So SGB is not only our parents, our SGB members and our teacher.
Okay.
So we have to sit down and then decide whether we do need that thing, and for whose benefit. Is it for the children, or is it for the school? Things like the building or the we have to sit down and deliberate and discuss. But it's not always the case. You'd find something so fast that the principal has to act SGB ingeko, and then he or she is the manager of the school.
Yes.
So although until it was fast, it will end up ali one, but trying to notify maybe omunye wama SGB. But naye if engekho lo muntu, principal is the CEO, but that's initially how it is supposed to be.
So then how do you then remove yourself? Let's say it is a situation where there is corruption involved, like the case that I think I wrote about it on DearGov of a specific school. Uguti, the chairperson, he was running amok, doing his own thing with the other governing body member. They were selling jobs, they were doing all these ridiculous things.
Yeah.
You understand? So then if when as a SGB member, when this is happening, do you also get painted with the same brush?
Yes,
should you be held accountable for what they did? If they are arrested, like in this instance they were arrested, does everybody in the SGB have to be arrested? Does that then push you guys
to implicated?
Yes.
Let's first see or discover if this person was implicated. If they were implicated, of course they have to face the full arm of the law. But like I'm saying, are situations where you would be stopped by a parent. Angithi ngama AGM siyakhuluma lapha staging sicabanga ukuthi siyazi yonke into. And then umzali ahlangane nawe estradeni, and then it's like, yeah, wena SGB udebetsa ngwanaka, yeah, wena SGB. Ngaleso sikhathi you are not even part of the panel, but you get painted with the same brush, whether you were there or not. And umzali angeke abe honest and say umntana bege wrong or whatever. But mina I don't know, personal view yaka as far as SGB haina matla awutebela ngwana o tshwanetse gore a tebelwe ke a much higher authority like principal. SGB ili one le ntwena what you call the ngikhohle to secular ban othi like only the principal a ka khona o tebela ngwana, not SGB. Rona ra dula fatshe re mamele hore ho etsaetseng, and then re tla recommenda hore re bona ka mo situationing e so ho hlokahala, because hona le schedule. There's schedule 1, it's a misconduct that may lead to suspension, and then there is schedule 2, a misconduct that can lead to expulsion. So uzothola ukuthi they get abused, those schedules. Ho ya ka hore ke mang,
So you're saying that the SGB is involved in the management of the school,
yes,
and the SGB is also involved in the disciplinary
yes,
part of the
yes,
school, right?
yes.
So now what happens when you guys in the SGB, because I always, like already, okay, it still baffles me how a bunch of parents in one room can sit and decide to be corrupt, ne? And then the second thing, tell me if amongst yourselves you guys don't like each other, because you have, remember you parents,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So me not liking you and we together in the
Yeah.
SGB, will it somehow affect
Of course,
your child?
Of course, I'm a living proof. I'm a living proof that currently my child has been targeted for my position in the SGB, just for my being in the SGB. So I think it's safe for me to say my presence irritates some people. So therefore, without my child in the school, people can be free to do whatever they want to do. But first, because they cannot find anything to use against me personally, hence they went after my child.
So now,
So you are not immune. Your child is not immune just because you are an SGB member. In fact, your child is mostly targeted, even by other learners. Because they're like, oh, your parent is there. Okay, sizokusebenzisa. Naye umntwana mengahlakaniphanga enough or engazi story sakhe uzo allow to be used and misused. But to answer your question, yes, I'm a living proof of that. If people don't like you or people feel intimidated by you, they will make sure that they get to you via your child. My child is currently paying that price.
I would love to talk, because your story, it's a very, it's sad, in terms of what your son had to go through and where he is as a person, or this whole experience is either it's going to make him, or it's going to break him. I do feel it's either it's going to be a rebel without a cause, or he's going to prove everyone wrong, or to look, I can do this,
Well, I'm a praying woman, my family as a whole, we are prayer warriors. We are praying against the spirit of rebelness or the spirit of, any spirit that can latch onto him or any of my children. We are prayer warriors. We believe in the Lord. Ayikho into edlula uNkulunkulu. Awekho amandla emhlabeni ngisho no AI. Awekho amandla adlula kaNkulunkulu. So my son will prevail. This some sort of justice must come out of this, because why should I sit there and discipline your child with nothing but the goodness or the kindness or whatever, and then my child is going to be turned into some scapegoat? Whereas some people's children, the issues, they end up going to corridor or somewhere. They never get to see the light of day. Disciplinary hearing.
I suppose with your son, that's why I'm thinking it's a story for another day, because it needs to be covered in its entirety, so we do justice to it. With your son, I suppose we would never truly understand, because of he was disciplined for thinking, about banking school, right? So he was basically suspended for banking, though he never left the school premises.
Yes. And then it's sad because there are words, words are so powerful. When you are dealing with learners or children, you need to be very mindful of the kind of words you use. The wording on its own, it carries so much weight, because remember, the suspension or the expulsion it can only be recommendation up until it's approved by the HOD. But the HOD is never there in the disciplinary room. They don't know what really happened. But the minute they see the things that are written there as a recommendation of expulsion, akaze kangcono, uzothatha lawo magama and think ukuthi I won.
And that whole process, that's why I think we should cover an entire episode on it, because of I think a lot of people are not aware of the processes, and you're right. I had a son as well that was expelled. I didn't know the processes.
So before I forget, I wanted to say the recommendation then will have to come as a result of what the learner has been accused of. In this case, as much as he never left, I know it's a case for another day, but as a mom, the mama bear in me just decided to, so, there are very heavy words, very legal words that were used.
Inciting violence. I could just see him on top of a table going, Yazin, let's
disrupt. Because they were not the targets. They were back in class in less than a week. My son spent over a month at home. But that's a topic for another day.
It is a topic. Hey, you were teasing me about my hair. What's wrong with my hairstyle?
Yeah, today you're looking like, yeah, you are embodying your Mama Africa and stuff. I love the texture, I love the color, but what inspired this look for today?
No, man, it's just I didn't know what to do with my hair, ne?
Yeah.
But then I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to go the dreadlock route.
Okay.
Yes, I once had my dreadlock.
Yeah, so have I.
Yeah. So I well, basically they didn't last. So I'm thinking of trying to see as well if it's a look that I want to go to. So I want to go to.
I have never seen anybody on a fanelo amatrets. I had mine for almost 20 years.
Oh yeah, yours were very long.
Very long, and my second born said, no, Mama, mawakhipha ngicela ungibekele wona ngizowafaka someday. Now asahleli lapha endlini. Kusho ukuthi ngihlele over on top of a gold mine.
No,
so,
but
yeah.
but if also decide uwafaka, right? There's a salon. Well, I can't say it's a salon, but it's called Perfect Dreads. It's a Protea North,
Do
right?
they deal with hair?
They deal with dreadlocks. They specialize with dreadlocks. Ne?
Yeah.
It's a salon owned by Nhlakanipo and OTD.
Okay.
So basically, they do house calls.
Wow.
They do
that is closer to the people.
Yes.
Our government should take a page out of that book.
So it's a Protea North, right? And then what do you call it? Is it
twisting? There is twisting, there is crouching, there is porter,
Yes. They they style, they gather your hair, treatment, everything.
Okay.
And what I like about it, they're actually young people. Like, in terms of DearGov, I spoke a lot about young people being innovative, being creative, being resilient in terms of doing something for themselves. If the government can give you something, you do it for yourself, right?
Yes.
So that's what they do. If anytime you want, well, basically we're going to visit them soon.
Okay.
We go do our hair.
Okay.
And then
I'm not saying Kilweta dress happy because no, I'm not going back there.
I don't want them permanently because I was asking Unkari.
Oh, there's an option.
Yes, you can have there is an what do they call that? Is it synthetic?
Synthetic dreads.
Dreads.
Oh yeah, I have seen those.
Yeah.
I have seen those.
Yeah. So so you can have that option, synthetic dreads, and what he explained to me as well, because our SETI immediately, so you can do them. Is it set when
they bambarish?
Yeah, when they bambarish.
Yeah, we'll go with the bambarish.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it doesn't happen immediately. So you can still have it, and then if you don't like the look, then I can't again go back.
Okay.
You can, and they do all types of hair, whether it's relaxed.
I think they can also do the not permanent ones with your own hair.
Yes, he said they can. So now I want to take a visit.
Take me well.
Perfect Dreads. And see what they can do with my hair.
You said it's Protea what?
Protea North.
Protea North.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're gonna put their phone numbers and address there in case when whoever wants to go visit, Nati will be going there to do our makeover.
I think we should have a podcast there.
We should.
Just
to see them at work.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had them once, right? Sure, the treatment there was so great. Like they make you feel like like you're the only customer.
Yes. Yes.
And
that's the spirit.
Yes. And they make sure when you leave, you are happy.
Yes.
There was a time where, because it's always angas. Yeah,
Angas wako yang stressa. Lalela again. Angas wako. Oh, I don't know.
So then they would do the angazi hairstyle, and it always come out nice. However, sometimes go angazi. It happens.
Surprise me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I've never had a point where I didn't like what they did. So even Abu Angazi, they are welcome. Go Perfect Dreads.
Yes. They will ask for you.
They will ask for you.
They will.
So, but anyway, until the next time, people, please go by DearGov. Please order.
Yeah.
Please. And then don't forget to subscribe and like our channel and comment.
And comment.
Yes.
Nkabe really reduce more repotela fela re nwa metsi re etsang, and then you don't like or you like. We need to know.
Yes.
We need feedback from you.
Yes.
Where can we improve?
Yes.
What other topics would you like to hear about? Except for Dear Gav. Right now, Dear Gav is the girl she thinks she is. Yeah, Dear Gav. Let's buy Dear Gav. Let's all these topics that we have covered so far. You can find them. Go Dear Gav.
Yes.
So, like I said last week, like it's a buffet. For us, you can still eat chicken, you can still eat fish and stuff. So with Dear Gav, there's a lot of interesting topics you can find and enjoy.
Yes, and please, guys, don't be shy. I'm a comments.
Yes.
You can bring them. There's no
The
such
good, the
thing.
bad,
as-
and the ugly.
Yes. There was a movie like that.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah, we're revealing our age. Let's
Yeah.
leave it to another day. Till the next time. Peace out.